What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2. I've been getting lots of questions lately of what a split screen account should look like. Meaning, if you're playing on console, you want to run a second account, whether it be for farming, for ancient power resets, whatever the case should be, you want a second account that you're going to use in that split screen. Now, of course, you can also do this on PC, but, obviously, you're going to have multiple Steam accounts, and ideally have more than one PC running. Now, there are third-party programs that will allow you, but it's a little bit questionable on the terms of service through Steam and Dungeon Defenders 2, so I'm not really going to get into any third-party software at all. So this is assuming that you have either a console or multiple PCs in your household where you are able to run more than one account. Now, people on consoles are using this for farming all day. It kind of gives console players an upper hand for anyone that is not able to do this on PC. And basically, this video is going to be referring to what it takes to get an ancient power carry from an alt account. Now, the highest you would have to go for an ancient power reset is from floor 50 to 80. As most of you know, every time you use ancient power and reset, your minimum onslaught floor will increase. That will cap out at that floor 50 to floor 80 range, so the highest this character ever needs to go is to floor 80. Now, one thing you'll notice is mods do not have to be perfect. They don't even have to be the perfect mod. However, you will want to have a positive mod on every slot on each of the defenses you plan on using. So let's take a look at my heroes and what I've been doing. This is one of my alt accounts. For those of you that remember way back when the campaign was reworked for the second or third time Omni and I did a campaign playthrough, this is actually that particular account. Now, I have been able to unlock an EV2 and an Abyss Lord on this account. However, these are my 7 heroes that I can use to carry myself all the way up to floor 80. Now, as you see here, this character has been there. Is capable of hitting floor 80. Actually has never done floor 81, but has made it to floor 80. Now, this is not a character that has any ancient power. However, I do have 2 of the critical hyper shards, which is Vicious Strikes, which I'm using on my weapon mans, and a Mass Destruction, which I am using on Earthshatter Towers. Now, taking a look through the heroes, these are the heroes that I have. Now, some of this is a little bit overkill. You don't need to get to this point. You don't really need those 2 hyper shards. However, I'm not going to lie, they are very helpful. So, first things first, let's take a look at the Apprentice. The only thing I do with this Apprentice is Earthshatter Towers, nothing else. I'm going with Shatterquake, Power Servo, and Defense Rate, with Earth Toss, Defense Rate, and Mass Destruction as shards. Now, one common thing you'll see throughout the course of this is stacking a Defense Rate mod with a Defense Rate shard. Mod here, shard here. Now, the reason this is I want to get those defenses down to the speed cap. Now, not having any gilded shards at all on this account, the only way on the majority of defenses I'm going to be able to do that is by combining a mod and a shard. So almost all of my defenses is going to have defense rate on it. Now, as I mentioned, the quality is not a huge issue. As you see, I've got a 3 of 10 defense rate, and it's more than getting the job done. So no reason at all to invest any further. Now, as I said, your mods don't have to be perfect, but you will want a mod that is positive for that defense in every single slot on every defense you plan on using. So here on the Earthshatter, I'm going Shatterquake, Power Servo, and Defense Rate, with Earth Toss, Defense Rate, and Mass Destruction. Now, of course, those lovely weapon manufacturers, all about that Shocking Revelation and Water on there, so I'm going Shocking Revelation, Water Servo, and Defense Range Servo. For mods, or for shards, pardon me, I've got Vicious Strikes, Defense Rate, and Deadly Strikes. This is actually the only defense I'm using that is not at the speed cap. As you see here, it's attacking every 0.48, so it's not that far off, but it is not at the speed cap yet. And one of the reasons I did that is I really wanted to max out the range as best as I can. You see, I'm still not at the cap yet, only at 1877. If you can get this all the way up to that 2000 range that the Weapon Mans will go to, oh my gosh, Weapon Mans will outrange everything. You don't have to worry about Cyborgs, you don't have to worry about Frost Orcs, because the weapon manufacturer will outrange it all. Now on the Monk, I'm using Flame Auras and Lightning Strike Auras. On the Flame Auras, I'm going with Encroaching Flames, Destruction, and Defense Rate. As mods, I got Power Servo, Defense Rate, and Melee Boom. Now, if this is an alt account that all you plan on doing is farming with or doing Ancient Power resets, remember it never needs to go into the high floors. So, Melee Boom is amazingly effective on these lower, say sub 120, 125 floors. Melee Boom is a beast. So I'm using Melee Boom quite frequently, as it just adds quite the punch to all of these builds. And then I'm using the Lightning Strike Aura with Melee Boom, Defense Rate, and Anti-Melee. Now I've got the Anti-Melee on there so that it gives me a little bit of help against, number 1, Lady Orcs, and number 2, that 1 or 2 Omega Waves. Actually, it's 2 different Omega Waves that you have to do going from floor 50 to 80. So I've got Anti-Melee in there to assist a little bit with that Omega Wave. And then, of course, I'm going with the Nuke Monk. For the Nuke Monk, I'm also building Skyguard Towers with Anti-Support, Controller, and Defense Range. Now, this is another one. Actually, it wasn't just my weapon manufacturer. I'm lying to you. Here is another defense where I'm not double stacking defense rate. However, I thought the range is more valuable. So anti-support for those kobolds and kobolds. Controller servo for the second shot, because of course the first shot from a Skyguard slows. And then defense range, and I'm going with defense rate, destruction, and deadly strikes. Now, as I said, this is not all the way down to the attack speed either. However, it's close enough, it's getting the job done for me, so I don't really see a point in changing it. Moving along, what else do we have? We've got the Poison Dart Towers. Now, I'm using Storm Servo, Power Servo, and Defense Rate Servo. For no other reason other than I had this relic, I would prefer to have Piercer Servo on here instead of Storm Servo. However, it was a decent relic I found. It had Storm Servo and Power Servo on it. So I figured, why not? I'll throw a defense rate on there and call it good. And then I'm using Explosive Poison and Defense Rate. This Enhanced Poison, as you see, isn't even upgraded. It's not doing anything. I've just got it there to keep that shard out of my inventory. So I actually don't have a third shard for my Poison Dart Towers. Once again, not ideal, but still getting the job done without a problem. Then moving on over to the Squire. I'm using Ballistas quite frequently now. And I'm going with Crit Servo, Defense Rate, and Piercer Servo. That crit rate, or the critical servo on there for the defense crit chance, not even remotely required. Once again, it was on the relic. I decided just keep it, as I don't want to spend anything at all on this account. Now I'm using Defense Rate, Destruction, and Splody Harpoon. So my harpoons or ballistas do have kind of a short range. I wish the range was a little bit better on them. However, it is good enough to get the job done. And then last but not least, I've got the Lavamancer in there. The Lavamancer I'm using 100% just for frost lanes only. So I've got defense range, defense rate, and anti-frost, going with deadly strikes, destruction, and defense rate on the fissures. So all of my defenses I made sure to get down to the speed cap, except for the Skyguards and the weapon manufacturers. You, of course, can play around. As I said before, and I can't stress it enough, none of these setups need to be perfect, and in fact, this particular hero can carry a 3-player or 4-player group up until about floor 78, 79, before, well, I want to say 78, because 79 is a little bit more challenging, before you even really have to start paying attention all that much. It just doesn't take a lot to get to those floors. It's more a matter of using the right defenses in the right places. And remember, once again, having the perfect mods is not that big of a deal. This is an alt account. It's got a specific goal. It's either there to collect loot or it's there to get your main account up to floor 80. With that in mind, you just don't need perfection by any means. Throw any mods in the slots that are positive. Now, I am going to do some 50 to 80 climbs here in the next couple of weeks with this particular account, so you will be able to see it live and see exactly how I'm handling the different situations with the mediocre gear. Now, I have had this account for several years, so it's got a decent ascension level, 741. I would say you want to get the ascension high enough where that you've got enough points to cover defense crit chance, defense crit damage, one range gambit on the hero, and then that is going to give you enough points to go into defense speed and partially into the defense power to negate some of the loss from the range gambit. As far as DPS characters go, like I said, I'm all about the nuke monk. He's not near as much of a nuke as my other monk, but it is still enough to get the job done. My main account, Nuke Monk, of course, is doing about 780 mil in a shot. This guy looks like he's doing about 93 million. So definitely not as good. I put zero focus really into much on the account. I've got random mods that kind of fit in the slot. All 6 to 10 gear. As you see here, I haven't spent any coin to get the gear upgraded, as it's good enough. So if it's good enough, there's no point in me going any further. So hopefully this helps everyone understand some of the basics on setting up their split screen account for doing some sort of multi-boxing in a Dungeon Defenders 2. So I hate to say it one more time, but I'll lay it on you again. Don't worry about it. Just get positive mods in every single position. Get yourself either to or as close to the speed caps as you can. Nothing else is really gonna matter. As long as you're using the right defenses in the right places, you're gonna get the floor 80 without any question. So that will do it for now. Thank you all so much again, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.